Hey guys, as you can call me Bottle Guy now, just because. And welcome to the first episode premiere of Gummy Bits, where we'll talk about out some reviews and re-review some old episodes. So, in case you guys don't know, I'm still working on season 2, and that's such a pain to deal with. But since I don't have time right now, I've recently been looking at my comments, and my most recent comment was, "Why do you find the curse so bad?" Now, I just want to point out right now that season 1 video took quite a rush to build, so that was why I wasn't able to go into as much detail as before. And the curse was my fifth least favorite episode of season 1. Now let's see how said my review of the curse inside the season 1 video. Let's dive right in and see the review. I know that we've been through a bunch of frustrating episodes, but this one is also a frustrating, evil, snowball episode. I freaking hate this episode as much as the robot, the laziest, the prank, and the dress. Oops, I guess I just gave away my bottom 5. But still, a gumball is tortured. This is the second gumball episode in this season, the second time. Not to mention the fact that he gets attention on punching by the girl absolutely inside this episode, and not in a good or funny way. Not to mention, the comedy is not even good at all. I think that Darwin's answers are kind of stupid. The only part that made sense for Darwin to do this again, William Coleman. Aside from that, it's almost like it's stupid still. I really hate when Darwin acts stupid. It really makes me get annoyed. So, we have a lot to think of about that. So here's the thing about this episode. I'm sorry. I just started a little. Okay, anyways. Here's the thing about this episode. This episode is incredibly stupid. Nowhere in this episode is this explained about why Gumball gets tortured for no reason at all. The thing is if your character does nothing, like Squidward and SpongeBob, they get tortured for no reason. And apparently here, Darwin is an idiot. But boy will that get worse later on, but enough said. Anyways, a problem with this episode is that if you're gonna do torture, make it at least funny. Nothing here is funny, as in, where's the comedy in this episode that you're supposed to find funny? Look, I get it. It takes at least a year to produce a whole season. But come on, just give better writing than this. I'm like, if I had to work on a job like this for a whole year, then I would probably do my best to at least make the story at least good and not focus that much on the animation. Like, right here, if you can tell. Anyways, let's talk about the rest of the episode. Okay, so, wow, great, Darwin. You are ruined in this episode. The main reason why is because you're just doing things that are really just unethical about you. You're mostly just positive and just stay happy. And even if you're ignorant to the world, like SpongeBob, you would still at least have some IQ. And here, he just doesn't have any. He's equally as stupid as an animal. And not every animal is bad. I do not mean any recommendations by that at all. The problem is the fact that Darwin just feels not comfortable. I'm not sure what it is, but I just find the way he acts uncomfortable. Anaisa's things is just stupid. I'm like, doesn't she realize that she lives in a world full of weird things going on? She literally meets and encounters with a living, breathing dinosaur. It just doesn't make sense of how freaking stupid this is. Anyways, back onto the episode and not just the characters. Okay, let's start with the beginning of this episode. The beginning of this episode deals with people waiting in the bathroom. Because that will not be reused inside another show. Anyways, everybody thinks that they want to go to Daisyland, but yet Richard believes so, obviously. Stupid Richard. And then we see Gumball getting inside the bathroom room and go into the shower first. And he just chants about it, being happy about that, which would have been a good reason, by the way, for him to have bad luck. But that's not something for you to be able to get detention for. Or, and not to mention about the fact that he gets detention because of Banana Joe. Oh, and speaking of Banana Joe, he is at his second worst ever. Yeah, second worst. I bet you that someday there will be an episode that will be much worse than this that has Banana Joe in it. And he acts unhappy. Nothing about his jokes are funny. Mostly because it leads to a character getting tortured. Look, if you watch SpongeBob, you know that unless Squidward does something wrong to deserve being tortured, there's no reason for him to be tortured. Even if he was tortured, it would be very lightly. But here, I just, ugh. Basically, the problem with Banana Joe inside this episode is the fact that he is the reason that Gumball gets detention. For just a stupid reason. Yeah, a stupid comedy hurdy-dur accident. And the worst part about this is the fact that it just comes out of nowhere for absolutely nothing at all. And then we get to the detention part and all that crap. Not to mention about the fact that the dog and stuff is not funny. And oh wow, Anais, you're doing stuff that leads to bad luck if anyone gets into trouble. I've never seen that before. And it's and ha, it's funny, right? No, it's not funny. Anyways, then Gumball looks like a pile of dust, which by the way looks awful for the first season. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this inside the first season, but season 1 just looks awful. While it makes sense for it to be bad for season 1, look at a show like Adventure Time, made by the same studio and looks good in the first season. But yet, for some reason it was hard to make this season. I'm not complaining or anything, I'm just giving some... Look, I just can't even say anything because how frustrated it is with this episode that it is. And you can tell that, by the way, with the highlight box. Although, there was something that was close to being the only good thing here. However, it's a small thing. And that was during the last part where Gumball actually survives. Speaking of which, if I added quotes in here, and do you know what I would put here? I'm not gonna make it. Do you know why? Because a certain scene makes me feel frustrated and angry. Basically, in detention, and, well, like at least before that Darwin gives stupid suggestions, and Anais does as well. And then we get to the detention scene. The detention scene is mediocre at best. Not good, not bad, but just mediocre. And then, later on, we get more bad animation that just has some not so good lip syncing. You can see, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I just don't find it that good. I just find it distracting. Anyways, back onto the pressing matter. Then Darwin... Oh my god, I'm sorry. Please, I am terribly sorry for that mistake. I've just been making this video in such a rush along the season 1 video because I had slightly more time to understand things and think things through. Anyways, he's back on to talking about this. So then Gumball walks away because he knows something's bad's gonna happen. And then he gets in a mop. And then he gets stuck inside of traffic. And do you know when I said that if I added quotes inside the series reviews, it was the one for in this episode will be, I'm not gonna make it? Gumball says that after he gets on the mop from inside the mopping bowl, sees that there's a broken dam, or at least bridge or highway or whatever it is. I just don't even understand what it's supposed to be anyways. It's hard to tell what things are and what are bridges and not. And then he takes them up, tries to make it, believing he's not gonna make it. And the show tries to show that Gumball, the main character that we're supposed to root for and care about, is gonna die. Ugh. Do you know what that means? Seriously, do you know what that means? That means that this show believes that nothing is wrong with making fun of death and using it for a joke. Oh, sure it's not as bad as Are You Happy Now, but still, you could have done a lot more better than this. This is exactly why I'm not a fan of this episode. Because of just how mean-spirited it is for no reason. Having your main character die is not a good thing. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, but keep in mind that I want to apologize to you guys. I know that this review might not be equally as much to help out, but I just want to get this video out there just because. Well, see you guys inside the Season 2 video. It's coming out 2021. And with that, Bottle Guy, out.